come in at 0-6. But the future is very bright for this Boston College team. We saw them, Anna, against Pittsburgh. I mean, Jason Kennedy is trying to get this group with the right culture mindset. It hasn't shown up in wins and losses, but he is seeing steady improvement.
And that's exactly what he said when we talked to him today. He said this team just wants to get better. We could be playing a slower type of volleyball with them, but they say no, throw us into the D1. We know that we're freshmen, but we want to get better long term, and we want to win. We want to be a top 25, top 50 team.
Irish in their road blue, and a big swing from Hannah Thompson to win the first point of the match. Rally scoring. Sets played to 25, except if we get to a fifth set, then it's played to 15. Irish coming off their only loss of the season, that at home to Pittsburgh. As you get a look at Nancy Kane, sophomore walk-on from Chicago. Notre Dame, a very good dig team. And that one blocked but out of bounds. Charlie Nigo is back in the lineup. Did not play in the last match against Pittsburgh, and it obviously hurt the Irish. When they're at full strength, they're a handful. And Nigo with the big swing, averaging 4.5 kills per set. Off speed by Nigo, but handled by the Eagles. That's dug up by Naughton. And that one goes long, and the first 3 points of the match belong to the Fighting Irish. What are the keys for Notre Dame to win?
Look, they need to serve aggressively. BC isn't the strongest serve-receive team, and Notre Dame needs to exploit that. And, of course, just play their game. Everyone on this team plays good, so no one has to play great. Of course, they have some great players, but everyone on this team does their job. As long as they keep on doing their job, they're going to find success.
Nigo dug up by Anna Murphy. Change of pace up the middle. Good dig. Free ball. This one's going over for the Irish. Go to the right side this time, and a big swing by Muth. And the Irish off to a 4-0 start.
Just a fantastic dig from Zoe Nunez. And that's what makes her such a great setter, is the fact that she can play all the way around, and she's fantastic in the back row just as much as she is in the front row.
And BC getting their first point of the match. What do the Eagles need to do tonight?
Well, I said Notre Dame has to serve aggressively. Well, BC has to pass. First touch is important in good serve receive so they can work in their middles. They also need to convert on the junk. So look for Notre Dame to do a lot of tips, a lot of rolls. They have heavy arms, which means they hit hard. They also are smart and dynamic. So Jason Kennedy said it himself, Notre Dame forces other teams to err. As long as BC can pick up the junk, the easy, off-speed, offensive plays that Notre Dame throws over the net, they'll be good.
Zoe Nunez was over the net, so the point to BC, and a serve for Anna Murphy, talented freshman out of Indiana, with a dig there. The set, and a big swing by Sylvia Iannicelli.
Iannicelli has a heavy arm. When you leave her just a little bit, that was a tiny bit of a hole in a block. From that angle, it looked like that. She just goes with it.
Murphy with another dig. And that one is set long. And so BC has drawn even at 4.
And that's one thing, every time we cover this BC team, they're young, but they have a lot of heart and a lot of fight in them.
Now, we touched on it in the open to the match. This is a Boston College team that is starting to find a rhythm. It has not shown up in wins and losses. In a beautiful off-speed touch by Caroline Muth. And the Irish in front 5-4.
No, and that's the bummer about this season is, look, I was saying it. We were talking about this earlier. First weekend, you'll probably play 3 games in tournament play that are non-ACC. Then second week, you'll play another 3. Then third weekend, maybe you'll play 2 or 3. I mean, that's your first 3 weekends of playing volleyball. And we're already done with the season in 8 games.
Boston College has lost its last 7 matches overall, dating back to the season finale last year against Colgate. This is Grace Penn. Her father, Tom Penn, was a varsity swimmer for Notre Dame. That one put to the floor by Lindsay Miller. Both Lindsay Miller and Charlie Nigo were questionable coming into the weekend due to injury. Miller, the freshman from San Diego, is hitting a team best 476. And a great put down in the middle of the floor by Amaka Chukwujekwu.
One thing I noticed about Chukwujekwu, she's been so impactful for BC in her entire career, and this season it's been hard to get going. Of course, we're just getting going while we're ending, but she has started to connect with her setters, especially Grace Penn, really well over the past, I'd say last weekend, they really started connecting finally.
Lindsay Miller winning that last point for Notre Dame, going off speed.
And again, that's a lot of the junk that Jason Kennedy talks about and people in the ACC talk about Notre Dame. They are smart at the net. They're not just going up to get the big, sexy kill. They're willing to tip. They're willing to roll.
And Notre Dame will serve very aggressively. But the point to BC, Claire Naughton and the Eagles have drawn even at 7. Get a look at Jason Kennedy. He is demanding accountability from his players. So many of them are so young. Chukwujekwu is not. She's a senior, but 10 freshmen for the Eagles, and they're just trying to adjust to college life in a very unusual situation. And that one going along from Aubrey Hamilton. Eagles hanging very tough here, trailing by 1. They have won just 2 sets all year, both in the first 3 matches. They have lost their last 11 sets since taking the 2nd set in a match that we did against Pittsburgh. And that one goes long, and the Irish now the 2-point advantage.
It's important for BC. I like that mistake from Claire Naughton. I like it. She was trying to go high hands on the block, tool off the block. So that means that she purposely hits the ball into the block so it goes off of the Notre Dame blocker's hands, and then BC gets a point. She's a really smart player, though, and that's where earlier we were discussing how she is a leader through how she plays, and that's a great example.
Lindsay Miller with her 3rd service error of the year. Boston College coming off consecutive losses at Syracuse, losing in 3 sets both times, but 3 of the 6 sets were very competitive. And a big swing by Hannah Thompson, who is hitting .243 and averaging about a kill and a half per set. And Zoe Nunez, the junior setter from Rockford, Illinois, serves for the Irish. And you see that very tough service by Notre Dame. They're one of the better serving teams in the ACC. They came into tonight's match 26 aces.
They serve aggressively, and their serves, the ball paints the top of the net. It doesn't give a lot of time for BC in this case to get under the ball, get their feet set, and put up a good pass.
Dig up by Kiara Schmidt for Notre Dame. Murphy. And that free ball handled by the Eagles. Dig by Nunez. Irish go left side. Aubrey Hamilton.
And this is blocks close, but again, Notre Dame does one thing in my notes, in my scouting notes that I had written down, starred, was Notre Dame covers so well as a team. So expect to see a lot of those you see and other conferences, and it changes day to day. But as of now, we're looking at an April 2021 postseason with everyone involved. I think it's 48 team seed, so it's a little unusual, but it's crazy because a lot of these teams, as we just saw their records, a lot of these teams haven't played a full 8 games yet, and a lot of these teams are done with their season. So it's just a lot of unknowns right now.
Again, another tough service for Notre Dame. Good block. Murphy has had her hands full for Boston College. Irish go middle, but it's long from Hannah Thompson. Claire Naughton will serve. 13-9 the count. Notre Dame already with 9 kills. They're hitting .381. Boston College just .136. Great block by Notre Dame. Muth was there, and one of the things that is so impressive, and you touched on this, Ann, on the open, Caroline Muth can do so many things so well for Notre Dame and Mike Johnson.
You know, and you don't necessarily see, she doesn't have this great blocking stat line defensively, but this is what she does exactly perfect. She sets up a great block, and her, in my notes, I blindly watch these games with no roster. I just do numbers, and I have circled 14/16 blocking duo. They together are so dynamic up at the net defensively, and it's because Caroline Muth can set a great block. So Hannah Thompson can get over, close, and shut down the other team.
Another great change of pace. This time it's Hannah Thompson. Thompson had a season high hitting percentage of .429 with 7 kills and 14 attacks in the Sunday loss to Pittsburgh.
And she has 23 total blocks on the season. And why does she have this? Because she's so disciplined up there. Her feet are so fast, and she's powerful getting out to the pins.
Yanaselli trying to go cross court. That's dug up by Murphy, and then a put down by Lindsay Miller emphatically.
When Lindsay Miller plays, you can't tell she's a freshman. This net play looks easy, but this is the hardest thing to do in volleyball. It takes such discipline, and the fact that she can do it easily, not net and put down a point, unbelievable.
Great dig by Hattie Monson. Monson, another talented freshman for Notre Dame. And Irish trying to get set here. Dug by Naughton. Murphy with the dig for the Eagles. Set in the middle. Naughton. She's dug up by Kane. And that one is not going to be dug out. Miller again. Notre Dame brought in 4 really talented freshmen. 3 of them were high school All-Americans, including Lindsay Miller out of San Diego.
You can tell, I mean, she's come to this level, and it just isn't that different for her. She has elevated her game and been able to perform.
And there's Miller with another block.
I mean, as a freshman, it takes such discipline to have that net play we saw a couple points ago, and then get up on a block like that. Her perfect timing, and just so I gave these players an option. Okay, we could try to go with my super fast tempo offense, and you guys might not have super close sets as far as points go, but hey, we get in the rhythm and we're playing these teams that are top 15 teams in the country. Or, you know, we can go back and kind of play slower volleyball like you guys are used to in high school. And the whole team said, you know what, we're going to play fast volleyball.
Boston College getting the block. Silvia Yanaselli out of Italy. Earning the point for the Eagles. There's a set, big swing, block not successful. Scored for Charlie Nigo. Nigo hitting a career high .271 this season.
And she sees the blocks a little bit late from Chukwujeku.
Good scramble by the Irish. Murphy has to dive and then tipped over by Nigo. Charlie Nigo, leading Notre Dame with an average of 4.5 kills per set, gets the put away.
But Hattie Monson, she is so good on the back row. She plays middle back. Usually we see liberos play left back because that's where a lot of the balls are funneled. But her responsibility on this court isn't just the middle of the court. It's also the corners. And oh my gosh, that girl covers ground like none other. She is flying all over the place.
And BC had drawn even. I believe we were at 8 all. And right now, Notre Dame 4 points away.
With Notre Dame, again, everyone just does their job. They do what they need to do, and it benefits them to the point where they're up 11 points.
These long rallies would tend to favor Notre Dame, but not that time.
For BC, so in volleyball we have rotations. We rotate around the 6 areas of the court. And even though you rotate, you might be in a rotation where you're playing right front, but your base position is left front or an outside hitter. For BC, what they need to do in this game if they want to find success is they need to identify the rotations that maybe don't work for them, and they need to consciously just get out of them as fast as possible. The past couple of rotations we saw Notre Dame get on a roll there, and it starts with a good pass, and then a good set, and then putting a ball down, or if we don't get a good pass, then bettering the ball.
Iannicelli with the ace and continues her serve, and a great swing by Claire Naughton, leading the Eagles with 2.7 kills per set.
And this is exactly what I mean. Free ball, you have to convert on free balls. Look at how fast that tempo is on that set. Nobody, even if you're a fantastic defensive blocking team like Notre Dame, nobody's getting there on that set.
Dig by the Irish, but Nigo is long, or it was tipped on the way out. It was long by Nigo. It was touched, so the point to Notre Dame. They're 2 points away from gapping the first set. Nigo with 5 kills on the match. Lindsay Miller has 4 for Notre Dame. Served by Schmidt for the Irish. And the point to Boston College. See Grace Penn, freshman from Manhattan Beach, California, team's MVP as a senior.
Just from the time we covered a game with Boston College 2 weeks ago, and just in the past 2 weeks, Grace Penn has improved tremendously. You could see last week against Syracuse, there was a play in the first set where she didn't connect with one of her hitters, and you could see it click in her eyes. She went, okay, wait, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know how to fix that. And the minute that you see a freshman not look over to the bench and go, hey, what was going on, and be able to adjust themselves, it's always really exciting to see.
That one paints the line for Boston College. Schmidt with the reception error for Notre Dame, and Boston College again hanging tough. We saw them do this against Pittsburgh. Another ace for Boston College. A little change of pace by Zoe Nunez.
That was the right decision by Zoe Nunez. I mean, BC was down 11-22 and just gained a little bit of momentum there. And as a setter, going second ball over and dumping or tipping like that is an easy way to get out of a tough situation.
Set point for the Irish after a 3-0 run by the Eagles. Penn sets. Naughton is sent back. It's dug up by Murphy. Irish block. Dug up by Nunez. And there's the set to Notre Dame. Aubrey Hamilton and the Irish. Serves first to start the second set. And Notre Dame coming up with a big block. Hannah Thompson in the middle, along with Aubrey Hamilton.
Hannah Thompson is she closes. Most of the time she closes. She didn't close there. That was all Aubrey Hamilton. And for a freshman to be that great and realize that actually Hannah Thompson was a little bit late there and took ownership of that block. Great decision.
Murphy again for the Eagles, and that goes out. So the Irish with a 2-0 lead to start. This is Zoe Nunez out of Rockford, Illinois. Nunez with 5 aces coming into tonight's match. Murphy receives the serve. And a great tip shot by Yaniselli to get Notre Dame out of sorts.
You can see that set is just so fast. As the ball is being set, the Boston College hitters, Yaniselli in this time, are basically jumping. So that's called a second step set, so to say. So she's on in volleyball, you have 3 or 4 step approaches. So think same footwork as a layup in basketball. I feel like everyone knows layup footwork, but I'm just assuming that. And it basically goes as you're jumping, as you're getting on your last step, you are contacting, you are meeting up with the ball, or the setter's setting it. It's really quick, and as a blocker, it's hard to get your feet there.
Anna Murphy, Boston College's top server with 4 aces and no errors coming into tonight's match. Set by Nunez, and a big, powerful swing, and the Irish a 3-1 advantage.
This is where we talk about Notre Dame has heavy arms. There's just no defending that. Even if it got through the block in that instance, even though Chukwu was pushing over the net and had great blocking form, sometimes the balls hit too hard.
Service error by Nancy Kane. Had a good conversation with Jason Kennedy, the Boston College head coach, today, and he said, I am so pleased with our group under these very difficult circumstances. We're trying to set a culture of accountability. The fact that we have not had to shorten a practice, cancel a practice, or anything because of COVID, and a beautiful tip by Muth for Notre Dame. He said that might be the accomplishment that I'm most proud of, is the way my team has responded under these difficult circumstances. And, of course, facing nothing but ranked opponents here this year.
You know, and as a college coach, all you promote is culture, right? It's the most important thing, and he's done a great job of recruiting kids that are going to buy into his culture. And you can see, I think, just much like we've seen with professional sports where they get thrown into this bubble, half of the crowd says, oh, well, it doesn't count, this is weird, but half of the crowd says, no, you have to be so much more accountable, and you have to buy into that culture so much more now, that this even counts so much more than maybe it did previously in a normal year.
Yaniselli with the kill. And another big swing by Muth, who leads the team in scoring, second in aces, and in kills, and in blocks as well. Sophomore from San Antonio with the service. And Boston College well out of system here. Great block, but it's out off the swing by Lindsay Miller.
Again, freshman coming in and being smart at the net. It's hard to do, especially when you're running a slide like that.
Naughton earning the point for the Eagles. The Eagles returning home for the first match here at Power Gym since the opening weekend when they lost to Louisville. One goes wide from Nigo. Boston College draws within one.
One thing you can notice, and this is something about Power Gym, is it's really intimate. And during these odd times where we don't have fans, if there are fans, there's a limited amount, is playing in these tiny gyms actually is such an advantage because you can hear how loud the benches are. And if you're traveling a bench or if you're at home and you have your full bench, it just can make such an impact in the momentum of these games.
Miller with the kill.
They have a big bench too. They have a deep bench for BC. But you know, Notre Dame plays in an arena. I don't know what it's called, but they play in the arena, and at times Wake Forest plays in an arena. Miami plays in a tiny gym. Syracuse plays in a tiny gym. Louisville plays in the Yum Center. It's almost an advantage to have these older gyms like BC, Syracuse has in these times.
Lindsey Miller again. Notre Dame plays in Purcell Pavilion, which is the same venue as the basketball teams play. So they play in a fuller size arena. So this is a little different for the Fighting Irish, but it has not bothered them to this point. Timeout. The Irish with a lead in the second set, up 1-0. And 3 of their victories over ranked opponents, twice over Syracuse and once over Pittsburgh. Murphy, good dig for the Eagles. And through the block, Izzy Clavena, a sophomore from Dallas, Texas.
Izzy Clavena, she has a big arm, and she connects with the tempo very well. She has, now of course she's a sophomore, so she's a little bit more experienced than all these freshmen, but she can connect with these freshman setters really well in that up-tempo offense that Jason Kennedy has emphasized that they need to run.
Sophia Lambros, this is a free ball for Notre Dame. Big block in the middle, Aubrey Hamilton.
A block always changes momentum. It always can shift momentum, and it's such a, this sport is such a cheering sport, and it is so crucial to be on the road and, again, having your bench incorporate, especially off of a big block like that.
Lindsey Miller serving for Notre Dame. Big swing in the middle. Hannah Thompson puts it down for Notre Dame. Hannah Thompson, her 4th kill of the match.
Watch how much power she has. She gets over the ball. Her whole hand is on top of the ball. And as you can see her eyes dart to the BC court to see what area was open and where she was being blocked.
Nice play in the middle by Gabby McKay. McKay leading Boston College, hitting .353 coming in. Just a beautiful little tip. And the dig attempt by Schmidt, unsuccessful. Claire Naughton serving for the Eagles. And another tip shot, this time from Caroline Muth, her 7th kill. She and Lindsey Miller with 7 kills apiece for Notre Dame. The Irish now a 4-point advantage here in the second set.
That, you could see Anna Murphy, Boston College libero, she got, I wouldn't say burned, but she did not pick up a dig from Muth a couple plays ago. And you could see she was so ready for Muth to hit it as hard as she could down the line. And great heads-up play by Muth to notice that all the BC defense were on their heels. That's important right now, is to know that Notre Dame switches up their shots. And yeah, they have heavy arms, but let's not get carried away with their heavy arms. Let's stay on our toes and be ready to read, but also react.
Anna Murphy, double-figure digs in each of the last 2 matches against Syracuse. That one tipped on the way out. And the Irish back to the 4-point advantage. This is Nancy Kane. Long tradition of association with Notre Dame. Her parents became engaged on the campus. She was baptized in the log chapel at Notre Dame, which is the original building on the campus in South Bend. And great swing down the middle and the point to Boston College.
Chukwu Jekwu, she has connected with both Grace Penn and Sophie Lambros tonight. And it's one thing I think they are finally connecting, right? We're 8 games into the season where normally we'd be just getting started, but I really like the connection that I've seen between Chukwu Jekwu and both of her setters.
Beautiful placement by Nigo for Notre Dame.
Thanks. We're all on our heels. Everyone on BC is on their heels expecting that big, heavy arm to hit at them. And then she switches it up. And again, having Nigo on the left front pin and having Nuke on the right front pin, both of them have such an ability to do that.
Nigo with 6 kills, but the service error making it 13-10 as you look at Mike Johnson. Coached at Xavier, then was the associate coach with Jim McLaughlin. Boston College drawing within 2. BC has only won 4 times all time against Notre Dame. They've lost the last 5, have the Eagles, in the series with Notre Dame. Another beautiful change of pace. Shot Muth this time to give her 8 kills in 16 swings.
2 huge heavy arms we've seen in the past couple of plays. Tip and roll over junk. We see that that's open, so we're gonna put it over. And not only are we gonna put it over, it's gonna be a great tip and a great roll that is gonna be near to impossible to receive or dig.
You get a good look at Anna Murphy talking with Jason Kennedy earlier today. She's a high-energy player. It's taken some time for her to get comfortable, which you understand, the speed of the collegiate game as opposed to, you know, what volleyball would be at the high school level in Indiana. They're unsuccessful with her attempted 8th dig. And the Irish back to a 4-point advantage. But when you look at Anna Murphy and Grace Penn and some of the young players that Jason Kennedy has brought in, the better days are ahead for BC volleyball.
They are, and you can see in their play. Pay attention to number 1, Grace Penn, and number 4, Anna Murphy. There are times where they will miss things, and again, they don't look over to the coaches. They don't look over at the bench. They're not looking at Jason Kennedy to say, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? They know. They're know, and they're hungry. They say, all right, I got it. Next one, I know exactly what I did, and I know I have the confidence now that I can dig that I can make that set.
Chukwu Jekwu. Amaka Chukwu Jekwu.
She's gotten going. Her and Grace Penn, their connection has gotten so much better, even within the past week. They're connecting incredibly well.
Chukwu Jekwu with her 3rd kill. Claire Naughton has 4 to lead Boston College. But the service error, and Notre Dame with a 5-point advantage here. You see Grace Penn, number 1. Couple of aces for her on the year. Kiara Schmidt serving for Notre Dame. Naughton. Muth. Nice block by Gabby McKay for Boston College.
And that is what Boston College needs to stop. The tips, the rolls, the smart junk like that. And it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of reading, and it takes anticipation. It takes communication on the court saying, hey, I know, okay, they can tip, they roll, they do stuff other than just swing really hard.
That one blocked back. Naughton at the net for the Eagles.
BC, you can see the energy that they get. They get behind, and then they get on these runs. And I love the energy and momentum from this group, especially the bench, and just the energy is so electric.
Free ball over for Boston College. Murphy, great dig. 2 great digs in succession by the freshman. And Boston College now starting to find its way here in the second set.
I love this from Anna Murphy. Those were awesome. And she stayed so disciplined. You can see it's all about that freshman year is so pivotal as a libero, because you realize, hey, I can hang in there, I can be there. And one thing Jason Kennedy said, you were talking about this earlier, the biggest thing he said to me was, yeah, she's a higher energy kid, but people like to play with her. And you can see this team, they gravitate towards her.
Naughton's 6th kill of the match brings Boston College within 1 point. Claire Naughton, very quiet, but she has grown into being a leader of this very young Boston College team. Another tip shot by Lindsay Miller, but it's handled by the Eagles. Naughton dug up by Monson for Notre Dame. Monson sets it, and that goes to the floor from Aubrey Hamilton of the Irish.
It was a great rally on both sides. BC, their defense is improving like none other.
Ending a 4-0 Boston College scoring run. Naughton. Naughton, Irish handle that again. Muth. And then a missed swing by Gabby McKay.
And that's okay. You're going to see that from a freshman setter and a sophomore middle. Sometimes they're just not going to connect like that. The only thing is that they're playing Notre Dame, number 5 Notre Dame. So on free balls, that was a free ball. BC has to convert on easy free balls like that.
Ace for Lindsay Miller.
That serve, geez, just it paints the top tape. I mean, every serve on this team is so aggressive. And again, she got an ace. Lindsay Miller got an ace, and that's great. But when you serve aggressive, it's mostly to put these teams out of systems. That means not a perfect pass.
That one going long, and the Irish 4 points away from winning the second set. Now 4 straight points by Notre Dame. Irish block, but it's out.
That is what Claire Naughton does great, and you can see that is how she leads this team. Another example of how she leads this team on the court through her play is in tough situations and tough rotations, like I was talking about earlier. That's tough rotation when Lindsay Miller is back there serving. She can, okay, we finally got that good pass. Now feed me the ball, I can put it down.
Ace for Boston College. Hattie Monson not able to deal with the service.
And then she's able to go, she can say, hey, feed me the ball, I'm going to put it down. I'm going to get us out of this sticky situation. And then I'm going to go back to the service line and ace them. Not only ace Notre Dame, but ace the libero. I mean, that's huge to get BC at least a little bit of momentum to get back into the game.
And for Naughton, this is unusual for her. There's been a tradition of winning at Boston College. Now, as a senior, you're 0-6 going into the final 2 matches of this truncated volleyball season. Great dig by Naughton. But not able to get the point. Irish by 3. Ending a 3-0 BC run.
It was a good thought. It was a good thought. Great dig, fantastic dig. And then going over the roll, so Notre Dame has a triple block, which is what they should be putting up against Claire Naughton. But of course, naturally, Claire Naughton coming out of the back row is going to go, okay, that donut hole right behind that triple block, I have that open right in front of the 10-foot line. I can go roll or tip right over that block. So heads-up play from Claire Naughton, even though it wasn't over the net. Heads-up play.
Crabtree with the air for Boston College. Irish by 4. Good dig by Nunez. Muth. Yanaselli sets it. Murphy sends it over with the free ball. And in the middle, heavy arm by Hannah Thompson.
Hannah Thompson is impressive. Her and Zoe Nunez connect. I mean, their connection is great. And she was able to put over these balls that I don't know anybody that could defend.
Set point for Notre Dame. Trying to go up 2 sets to none, but not just yet. They had ruled that was down on the floor. I thought Monson could not dig it up for Notre Dame. So 24-20 the count.
So they thought that she got it up, but again, this is a fast-moving sport, and that's what's great. We haven't seen a challenge yet this game, but challenges are a thing in the ACC now, and it's fantastic because this is a fast-moving sport.
And there's the set to Notre Dame. Muth puts it away. Caroline Muth, her 9th kill of the match. And the Irish take the set 25-20. 2 sets to none. The Irish over Boston College. Back with the 3rd set.
She looks at what is going on the other side of the court, and she is able to be smart. Yeah, it's really fun to hit the ball hard. It is, but sometimes that's not the smartest decision.
Sophia Lambros starts the 3rd set for Boston College. Murphy, another spectacular dig. She really continues to impress. And there's the speed and the power as the Irish put it away for the first point of the 3rd set. 10th kill from Muth.
And then she uses her arm, and it's so great to see a dynamic player like that who is just smart at the net. It comes down to being heads up.
It's dug up by Yanaselli. Free ball. Monson digs it up for Notre Dame. Great block by McKay at the net for the Eagles.
I really like how BC, we can see it better from this angle. Again, both blockers go up together, Yanaselli and McKay, and they're communicating. You can't tell from where we are, but they are communicating. Okay, 1, 2, 3, ready, up.
And Hannah Thompson says enough of that.
And you can tell, how you can tell blockers are communicating is mostly because Yanaselli was ready and she saw it, but she still waited for McKay to come over to her. She still, when you see a pin, wait, and then they go up together, that just means everything is firing how it should be.
Dug up by Kane. Cross court. Nigo puts it down for Notre Dame. 7th kill for Nigo.
This is a beautiful hit. Little bit of out of system. Just gets on top of that ball. Great block by BC, and Nigo just goes around the block.
Averaging 4.5 kills per set. That leads Notre Dame. And the block out off the swing by Yanaselli for Boston College.
Yanaselli does a great job of cooling off the block. We've seen it tonight. You go back, you watch film on her, she does a great job of it. And I like to see, she's a sophomore, so she's underclassmen. She's going to be great when she's a senior.
Long from Lindsey Miller. Eagles draw even at 3. Mike Johnson says of his team in this unusual year of 2020, just be appreciative of the opportunity to play. We don't know what the future holds. Just handle what you can control and don't let the other stuff bother you. Monson digs it for Notre Dame. Murphy, another great dig. McKay going cross court, but the Irish able to handle it, and that finds some floor. Muth again for Notre Dame.
That was a great spot. Long rally, out of system, and just sends it to that deep corner. That's a hard corner to defend, and that's an even harder corner to put over.
11th kill for Muth. Nigo. 8th kill for her.
If it's not one, it's the other. If it's not Muth, it's Nigo. And she's come out with some big swings. We haven't seen some of these big swings that she's coming out with so far in the set. And I think, again, that speaks to the hitting percentage. That speaks to the ability of this Notre Dame team to be so well-rounded.
Nigo with 8 kills in 16 swings and no errors. That's how good she's been tonight. And Notre Dame a little fortunate there as Kane earns the point for the Irish.
We love to see that. Love to see that. And that is a dig. That is a dig for Nancy Kane. She is going to walk away tonight with a 100% hitting percentage.
And Yanaselli continues to impress. Get a look at Caroline Muth out of San Antonio. Had a double-double with 12 kills, 14 digs in the win in Chestnut Hill last year. That went 5 sets. Boston College and Notre Dame. Oh, beautifully placed tip by Lindsey Miller.
She wasn't finding success the past couple of times she's been set. So reset. Why do you have to go up for the big swing, for the big kill? If the block's set and you have nowhere to go, BC looks like they're choking up a little bit, so they notice that Lindsey Miller's sweet hit, for the hit that she likes and she's best at, is going slide and then cutting back cross court and hitting to that right back area. So BC's coming in with their block, so they cut that off. And so guess what Lindsey Miller does? She goes, okay, I'm just going to tip to the left front. No problem.
Muth pops it up high. And that one long from Clovena.
The ability, volleyball games are won in one, you're out of system play. So when it's not a perfect pass, how do you capitalize on that? Can you convert? And 2, how well can you adapt, right? Sports are all about being coachable, and volleyball, because it's so fast, you've got to be able to adapt and change whatever you're doing if it's not working really quickly, and Notre Dame can adapt incredibly well.
Penn sets, and Naughton puts it away for the Eagles. 8th kill for Naughton.
I like her out of the back. We saw she had the triple block there from Notre Dame because she was approaching from the back row, which you can do as long as you're A, not in a libero, and B, behind the 10-foot line. But smart decision. Usually when she hits it hard, she finds success from the back row.
And again with the set. Murphy, 12th dig, but not successful in the Irish now, a 9-5 advantage.
That was a great touch from Anna Murphy. She read that it hit the block a little bit, went completely, she was lined up perfectly around the block. Defensively, she was lined up perfectly, and she read, reacted. Really, really nice play. Even though she didn't get the dig, really nice.
That's blocked out, so the point to Boston College.
And then she doesn't get the dig, but then she's able to come and put up a great pass. That's just fantastic from Anna Murphy. I'm really excited to see where she is when she's a senior.
She has impressed as a freshman out of Zionsville, Indiana. Two-time All-Stater. As we said, Jason Kennedy has done a very good job of bringing this group together, and because you've got players from all over the country coming to Boston and the Northeast, which is not necessarily known as a volleyball hotbed, this group has really come together, particularly in these unusual circumstances. And Naughton claims her 10th kill of the match to pull the Eagles within 2.
But he brought up a great point is, you know, Claire Naughton, she's a senior, obviously, and you see this through how she plays, but also how she leads on and off the court. And one thing that Jason Kennedy said, touching on what you just said, is, yeah, I mean, you're in Boston and you have people from, if you have a California player, right? Grace Penn is from Manhattan Beach, California. That's where I'm from. You don't get to go home for Thanksgiving. If you're at University of Southern California, most of those girls are from Southern California. They can drive an hour, they can drive 2 hours back home. So it really makes this team be a little bit closer, and I think this time is just, it can only benefit Boston.
Nunez into the net, and Boston College has scored the last 4 points. The draw even at 9.
Team Boston College needs right here, make the serve, really get momentum. It's the silly errors that you need to capitalize on if you're Boston College.
Boston College, a 4-0 run. They have drawn even at 9. And we do have a coach's challenge here. I think it was pretty obvious Nunez was in the net.
I will say, out of coach's challenge, I was covering the Miami FSU game last week, and there were so many coaches challenges for line calls, and I rarely ever see line calls get reversed. I feel like those are usually called pretty fairly. The best thing for these challenges, again, I think coaches know that, and they use these challenges to their advantage as kind of an opportunity for a timeout. Hey, if we win the challenge, then we get a timeout back. But a lot of these challenges come great for these net plays. I mean, net plays and touches, that's what these challenges have been great for the ACC.
The call does stand as Nunez was in the net, so 4 straight for Boston College. That finds some floor. Aubrey Hamilton, another freshman All-American, a high school All-American, one of 4 freshmen that Mike Johnson has brought to South Bend.
She's great. 6'2", that reach. She got up and over that block and hit through the tiniest hole.
Chukwu with a little sweep shot. All even at 10.
Chukwu has been able to connect with Grace Penn so well tonight. She has 4 kills, hitting 500 on the night, and we haven't seen a lot of her out of this season. Again, usually we'd be just getting started, so it's not fair, but at the same time, we're wrapping up our season. But her and Grace Penn, I really like that connection tonight.
And through the block, Muth. And we've seen this grit and this toughness from Boston College. The match that we did a couple of weeks ago in Pittsburgh, they got rolled in the first set, came back and won the second set. It's the last set they've won. And not well played by the Eagles.
It's a lot of heart and a lot of hustle from Boston College. And if you're Jason Kennedy, that's all you can ask for. Again, they said yes. They said, yes, please put us a little bit out of our comfort zone, have us run this fast tempo so we can get better. That's all we want.
Now, Jason Kennedy said of this season, for us, the results have not been there in wins and losses, but how much can we learn playing all these ranked opponents with a very young team? BC, good block, long rally, tipped by Muth. Free ball sent over, and Notre Dame. Wow, Monson. Great work on the back line. There's Monson again. And the Irish block, but it goes out off the swing from Chukwu-Jakwu.
That rally was great. Amazing defense from Hattie Monson, but really heads-up play from Boston College. And that's the kind, just what you were saying before that, Jason Kennedy saying, hey, we're not measuring this season in wins and losses. That is exactly what he's talking about. Hey, you know what? Instead of pass that hit, I see an area on the other side of the court, so I'm going to send first ball over. I'm going to send second ball over. Really heads-up, smart play from a young Boston College team.
Monson sets it, and that's well long.
And Boston College, again, that heart. I mean, they just stay in there until the end, no matter what.
They have drawn even at 12. Timeout on the floor at Power Gym. Irish, 2-0, but all even here in the third. Notre Dame and BC. Those two schools have pretty good football tradition. Speaking of college football, tomorrow is an ACC football doubleheader. Action starts at noon Eastern. Florida State at Louisville, then at 3:30 Eastern. Wake Forest at home to Virginia Tech. Check your local listings so you can watch ACC football Saturday. Claire Naughton with 10 kills for BC. And Naughton serving to try to give Boston College the lead in this set. Monson able to dig it up, and that's blocked out off the swing of Nigo. Notre Dame has been challenged, but been stubborn in terms of giving up the lead.
It's thanks to plays like that from Charlie Nigo, where she just smart heads up. Oh, block isn't there. I'm going to tool off of him.
Nigo 9 kills for the match.
So it looks like there was a net on Notre Dame's part. The down ref called it. So that's the down ref, the second ref on the floor.
Yep.
And he calls the nets. And then up ref kind of just oversees everything. Doubles, you know, what have you. But it's great. I mean, if you're Notre Dame right now, you want to close out. You cannot do those errors like that. Stay out of the net, make your serve. If you're BC, likewise, you know, make your serve to capitalize when Notre Dame's making an error.
Great block. Muth was there along with Lindsay Miller.
And this is Caroline Muth. She sets up a great block. She makes sure that her middle is touching her shoulder. They go up together. I love how it's not necessarily the block, her stat line, but just how she plays up in the net defensively is such a difference maker.
Miller puts away her 9th kill of the match. Nigo has 9. Muth has 12. Notre Dame hitting .324 for the match. And an error in reception by Yanaselli. And this is where a young BC team, their inexperience shows a little bit, trying to get over the hump. They draw even, can't grab the lead. Notre Dame out in front by 3 as we go. Puts it away. How impressive has Notre Dame been in this match? They have not trailed at any point tonight. We've had tie scores. We have not had any lead changes. Notre Dame has led throughout.
And that's because when volleyball kind of works in 2-point, 3-point, 4-point runs, right? Once you see if a team gets in a 3 or 4-point run, usually you'll see a timeout at that point, because that's really like where the momentum stops or can take over. And Notre Dame just stops if if someone's getting on a 2-point run. They just stop. They say, nope, 3rd point, not going to happen. They do a great job of that. And it really starts with just being disciplined and not getting in over your head, just saying, okay, we're going to play our game, and we're not only going to, play well, but we're going to play smart. And big thanks to Charlie Nigo, because she plays smart.
The Irish had run off 5 straight. And a service error by Boston College. And this is what I alluded to when we went to break. Sometimes a young team, the hardest part is learning how to see a set out, how to deal with a little bit of adversity. You draw even with Notre Dame, and then Notre Dame finds a second gear. Boston College is not able to respond.
No, and that's huge. I think that speaks to experience, just like you're saying. I think one thing with BC that we see is they get down, right? In the first set, they were down 22-11. And then they come back and they fight in it, and then it's 18-22. If I'm Jason Kennedy, I'm telling my team, guys, you can hang with them. You do it at some point. Maybe Notre Dame's letting off the gas, right? Maybe they were kind of, okay, we need to finish this, and we're not being super disciplined because we're up by 11. But Boston College, if they came out with that energy first off, then they wouldn't have to fight such a deficit, right?
Naughton is long with that swing, and the Irish now 5 points away from a sweep. They have had 2 sweeps this year. So Notre Dame 5 points away.
But it's a great decision from Jason Kennedy. Let's take a challenge. I want to call timeout anyways, and maybe I'll get the timeout back. Who knows?
Good coach stands up for his players. Lindsey Miller with the service error.
And again, if there was a stat line for coaches, we'd give that point to Jason Kennedy, because upon, shifting momentum or what have you, when coaches call timeouts, it's to break serves. More times than not, it's so they miss their serve. And Lindsey Miller missing her serve at this point in the game, huge for BC.
Boston College has been swept 4 times, including their last 3 matches. They've lost their last 5 against Notre Dame. Big swing by Thompson. That's the 7th kill for Thompson. 5 Irish with 7 or more kills in this match.
She just paints that line. That is tough to hit and tough to defend.
Free ball for Boston College. And that one never gets over the net. And the Irish within 3 points now.
This is one thing that Notre Dame, I've noticed, and this is something that Pitt has struggled with this year, but in previous years, they've done a great job is closing out games.
Now Notre Dame trying to close out the set and the match. Timeout Boston College. Lambros serving for the Eagles. That's long.
This late in the game, when you're 3 points away from winning the match, taking the match, hitting it out, hitting it into the net, you just really have to focus so much to that point where our coach in college used to tell us, you have to be exhausted. After these past 3 points, you need to go home and sleep for 10 hours because you are so mentally exhausted from focusing on these 3 points.
Muth. It's out, and BC will not go gently. Lambros's mother, Colleen, played college volleyball at Notre Dame, and she serves now. Muth. McKay scores it for BC. And the Eagles are down just 2. They've scored the last 3, and they force a Notre Dame timeout.
And Sophie Lambros, that energy is important at this point if you're going to stay in it and fight back if you're BC. Some really important things, and this is not playing. This is not speaking to ability, but the most important thing, like we were talking about earlier, Power Gym, it's a tight, intimate atmosphere. Get that bench involved. Get everybody screaming every point, whether it's a net, whether it's out, whether it's a block. Earned or forced, you have to be crazy because you just need that momentum right now.
4 straight points by Boston College to draw within 2. Same 2 teams tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. If you're Notre Dame, you want to close this out and go get a good night's rest. Boston College trying to extend. Notre Dame winning the first 2 sets at 17 and at 20. Lambros playing her high school volleyball at Rosary Academy in Fullerton, California. Oh, nice block at the net. Chukwujekwu, and Boston College now 5 straight points to pull within 1.
Chukwujekwu, so I started covering her when she was a freshman. I remember when she was a freshman, and this play tonight, so far this season she's been slow to get started, but this play tonight is the Chukwujekwu we know and love.
Chukwujekwu draws this set to an even 22 all score line.
That is her 6th kill. She's hitting 500 on the night and just impeccable. This is how she plays. She plays heads up. She sees where blocks are. She sees where players are, and she capitalizes.
And then a service error by the Eagles.
And not what you want as far as momentum goes when you just fought your way back into the game.
And an opportunity after scoring 6 straight to grab the lead for the first time tonight. Kane serves and returns service error for service error. Mike Johnson talking to Aubrey Hamilton on the Irish sideline. Naughton serves. Monson digs. And somehow Boston College able to get that back over the net. Monson. Oh, and that finds floor. Hannah Thompson again.
That was an insane hit.
And there's the match. The Irish put it away. Caroline Muth